said just a fucking lie. I'm the dark side of the sun, hopeless you can't hide. I'm the dark side of the sun, you already mine. I'm the dark side of the sun, dark side of the sun.
Yo, what's up, TAO Simps? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my TAO build. And yeah, so don't worry, you're only 8 months late to the build. So thankfully, I've already had her built for this video, and now I get to share it with you guys. The showcase at the beginning of the video was just a demonstration, just a general template of what TAO is capable of. So let's get into the build. Max HP, 36k. Normally I say in almost all of my videos that HP doesn't matter. In this case with TAO, it absolutely does. A really good HP is 40k. That's what you generally want to aim for, but don't favor 40k HP over crit rate or crit damage. Her attack is 1776. With the way that her E functions, this will go up. So even though her attack does seem low, it goes up a lot more. Elemental Mastery 21. It's a bit low. But we'll break down into Elemental Mastery here in a few. We're looking at 59% crit rate and 225% crit damage, 94.6% pyro damage bonus. Usually it would be around 61%, but this is up a little bit because of the way her kit works. And yeah, that's basically all you need to know about her general stats. Now let's get into her weapon. Her best in-slot weapon is still Staff of Homa. Even if you can just get an R1, it's absolutely crazy. Just generally her absolute best weapon. If you have literally any 5-star weapon, you could just throw them on her because they're absolutely ridiculous. All 5-star weapons are cracked. If you do not have it, you could use something like the Lithic Spear if you have, and you're using a couple of Liwei party members. So in this case, we're using TAO, Xingqiu, and Zhongli. So that's 4 or 3 party members. So your attack and crit rate scales with that. Alternatively, you could use Dragon's Bane, which is good because Elemental Mastery, you're going to be getting a lot of Vaporize and possibly Reverse Melts based on the team comp that you're using. And so this is very good. This can be a little bit tricky to use considering that you have to keep Pyro or Hydro on them. Alternatively though, I would say that probably one of the best weapons for her for a 4-star would be Deathmatch. And the reason why is because it scales with so much crit rate and the passive on it can really improve your damage. Alternatively, you could use the Blackcliff Spear. Yeah, if you don't have any other options, you could use Star Glitter, if that's still what it's called, because they're always switching the names around. I don't have it, but the craftable 4-star weapon, that's not the Crescent Pike, you could use that. I forgot the name of it because it's so irrelevant on my build right now. For artifacts, there's a few different options that you can use, and it honestly depends on how you plan on playing TAO and generally which artifacts you have better stats on. The reason why we're using 4-piece Crimson Witch is because not only because of the pyro damage bonus, but the 4-piece set, we're getting increased melt and vaporize damage by 15%, which is really good because vaporize and melt are already strong, right? Like this is just a small boost into it. And then you can increase the 2-piece set bonus by 50%. So 50% of 15, which would be about 7.5% of extra pyro damage bonus. And that scales on top of her kit, on top of her kit. Yeah, so it'll be a lot stronger. Also factor in that HP still matters. So the HP rolls that you're getting now, they actually mean something now. They're not just completely worthless. So if you roll HP on an artifact with crit rate, it's not the worst thing in the world. Of course, this artifact could be better, but generally HP is really good on her. For these hands, 100% you want HP. I never thought when I first started playing Genshin Impact that I would ever need a sans of HP, but with TAO, HP definitely matters. So anything that you have with HP, you just throw it on her. This one has decent substats. We have a little bit of energy recharge, a little bit of attack, and a little bit of crit rate. We're honestly just using this for the 4-piece set bonus over the Wanderer's Troop. But yeah, so generally you want to run HP. For the Goblet, you want to run pyro damage bonus. This one in this case has crit damage, but definitely pyro damage bonus. Not too much to say on that one. And for the hats, depends on what weapon you're using. If you're using something like Deathmatch, you're going to want to get crit damage. If you're using something like what I'm using, which is Homa, literally her best weapon, you're going to want to use crit rate just to buff it up a little bit, unless your artifacts are literally perfect and you can scale so much crit damage. Other artifact sets that you can use the 4-piece lava walker if you want. It's hard to keep pyro on them, so I wouldn't really recommend it unless you have a Xiangling or something that you can use to keep pyro on them. I wouldn't really recommend going with this. You can also go with a 4-piece Shimenawa set. That's also very strong on Hu Tao if you have it. I have not been farming that domain at all, so I don't have any pieces, as you can clearly see. But if you do have Shimenawa set, you can also throw those artifacts on her. It does function a little bit differently than the Crimson Witch, but generally Crimson Witch is the easiest to use on Hu Tao. Alternatively, it's easier to get a 2-piece set, so if you wanted to do something like this, where you have a 2-piece Wanderer's Troop and then a 2-piece Crimson Witch, you can also do that, because it does give you a little bit more element mastery, and of course with Hu Tao, she's pyro, so you're going to be getting a lot of vaporize and melt. For her constellation, this is a pretty big one, and a lot of people struggle on whether to go with Constellation 1 or going with Staff of Homa. Generally, Staff of Homa will be better for your build, as she does not need to be C1. She's broken either way. If you choose to go C1, you just want to be spamming charge attacks. Either way, it's very broken. So let's go ahead and get into her const. This just literally, you don't consume stamina when you're in your E form. That's literally it. So you pop your E, spam a bunch of charge attacks, and it's game over. Literally break the entire game. This gives you a little bit of extra damage, leveling thing. Gives you crit rate for your other party members, but Hu Tao's very selfish. She's on the field like 90% of the time, except for when her E's on cooldown. And then leveling. So honestly, these two are the only ones you really need to matter about. I can't be bothered with the rest of them, so I'm not going to be pulling for her because I already have her maxed out. For talents, we have 9, 9, and 10. I'm planning on crowning these two, but as you can see, I'm lacking the materials, as I have wasted my crowns on other characters. And generally, the way you want to upgrade these is I would go with your E first, and then your normal attack, and then your Q last. That's how I would personally do it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into these. As you can see right here, the reason why you want to be spamming charge attack is because of the insane multiplier, 228. That doesn't even compare with the rest of these. Like, none of these can even come close to the charge attack damage. And on top of that, once you do a charge attack, you get the Blood Blossom damage, which is even more damage. So honestly, you just want to be spamming charge attacks as much as possible. As you can see right here, we're not going to be getting into this. But basically it consumes Hu Tao's HP. So as you can see right here, we have 30% of current HP. Every time you upgrade that, it'll go up to a certain percentage of your max HP, right? It'll increase your attack based on your max HP. That's why you want to build so much HP on her, right? But this takes 30% of your current HP, not your max HP, and the attack increase goes off of your max HP. So not the HP you currently have, but overall the biggest number on your build. So right now we're looking at 5.96 out of 36,000. So that's going to be a significant increase, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But then you have the Blood Blossom damage, which does 109%. Duration is 8 seconds for the Blood Blossom damage, and the duration of your E is 9 seconds, and the cooldown is 16 seconds. So overall, you're looking at about a 7-second cooldown between your E and when you can use it again. But generally, you're going to be swapping between party members during that time, as you're going to be getting every single second of her E as possible, because she can just hit ridiculous numbers. For her combat talent, you can see the skill damage is absolutely insane, 494%. This is crowned as well. Low HP skill damage, 617%. That number is insane. That's over half of 1,000%. Skill HP regeneration, you get 10% of your HP back, which is just enough to keep her at low HP, because you obviously want to keep her low HP, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But cooldown is 15 seconds and the energy cost is 60. 60 is a pretty fair one. If it was 80, I would still think that it's super OP, but 60 is very fair. So I think they did a really good job with this one, making it super broken. This one, basically, everybody but Hu Tao gets 12% crit rate after her Guide to Afterlife ends. So after you offer E, doesn't really matter. Okay, so when Hu Tao's HP is equal to or less than 50%, her pyro damage bonus is increased by 33%. That is huge. That's why you see this 94.6% pyro damage bonus. That is from this passive talent right here. So I'm going Rogue. this is an absolutely insane one. So you definitely want to get her ascended as fast as possible because this makes a big difference. And then that literally is just for cooking. But overall, that's her entire build right now. I want to show you how her E functions real quick, and then we'll get into party members and playstyles. Her attack is 1766. So after we pop her E, right, we get 3900 attack. And just remember, this is just the attack, so that alone is absolutely insane. On top of that, we have the 59% crit rate with 225% crit damage. Power damage bonus, 102%. So that is because of the Crimson Witch of Flames. That is because of her low HP and because of her E ability. So all of that stacks up to give you over 100% pyro damage bonus. And that's why I think personally that Crimson Witch is the most consistent and honestly just the best artifact set on Hu Tao possible. It's ridiculous how much damage she can actually do. So yeah, that's basically why your HP matters so much. You're never going to want to put HP on your hat or on your goblet, but you definitely want to run it on sands. And if you have substats of HP, they're going to matter now. So basically, you stay in this form for 9 seconds. Once the 9 seconds end, you're going to have a 7-second cooldown. So as soon as that gets to 7, as you can see, the flames disappear, our attack goes back down, and our pyro damage goes back down as well. So basically, after that cooldown, while you're in cooldown, you're going to be swapping between party members. But let's go ahead and get into party members before we go ahead and test her out on that Electro Mage over there. So here's the current party that I'm running. Her party is honestly very flexible as long as you have someone to do elemental reactions with. It's crazy. So the thing about Hu Tao is you want to keep her low HP, right? So let me just get this straight out of the way. You do not want a big healer. You don't want to be running Chi-Chi. You do not want to be running Bennett. The only semi-healer that I have in here is Xingqiu. And obviously she heals herself, so she can heal herself. Xingqiu gives her a little bit of extra healing, but not over that 50% threshold most of the time. And then we have Zhongli for shielding, so she just doesn't take too much damage, honestly. But basically, this is my party member. Last one, we're using Ayaka just for literally melt whenever we can get it. Kaya is a lot more consistent at providing melts. We just don't really have it built. So honestly, my Ayaka just deals more damage in this party. So you're going to be using Xingqiu, obviously, for Vaporize. I would recommend going with somebody like Zhongli, just for a little bit of a shield. If you don't want to, you can use somebody like Fischl for Overloaded and Electrocharged in this specific party. You could use another Pyro member like Xiangling, and her at C6 gives you extra Pyro damage bonus when you're using her Pyronado, so that's really good. Honestly, I would recommend if you have Zhongli, use him. If you don't, you could even use somebody like Venti Sucrose, Jean, or Animo Traveler, any of them with 4-piece Viridescent sets, so you can get Swirl and extra Pyro damage because it resists their resistance to Pyro if you swirl it off of Hu Tao. And then for the last one, I recommend running Cryo just so you can get melts here and there. Honestly, the way she's played is so easy. I don't see how you could possibly mess this up. Literally, I just come in here, Zhongli, Xingqiu. You can do this, and then you can come back to Hu Tao, and all of a sudden, everything's just dead. We just two-shot her with Hu Tao. She's just absolutely ridiculous the way that her kit works. Literally, most of the time, you're just going to be one-shotting or two-shotting everything with your normal attacks. So, yeah, that's no food buffs or anything. The way you're going to be wanting to cancel her charge attack, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. The first way is going to be jumping straight out of it. So you can literally just jump straight out of it as soon as she goes into that charge attack animation. If you have her C1, it's a lot more easier to dash out of it. It's really easy just to dash out of it and then keep, E-ing, holding charge attacks. But you definitely want to get charge attacks off with her if you want to maximize your DPS. Even if you don't want to learn that, how to, utilize your charge attacks and animation cancel it, you can just left click. You can literally just left click with Hu Tao. She's still going to do a lot of damage. I don't know why people, think that her at C0 is bad. She's not bad at all, especially if you're free to play and you've saved up all your wishes for Hu Tao. She's absolutely broken, even if all you do is just left click the entire time. So as you can see, just with her charge attacks alone, we're dealing ridiculous amounts of damage. 14k off of one normal attack. No charge attacks at all. As you can see, she just clears everything out in the entire game. And it's just ridiculous. You know, her scaling is crazy. Her as a character, I think she's one of, if not the strongest characters in Genshin Impact at the moment. But yeah, so she's absolutely broken. That pretty much wraps up this guide. If I missed out anything, which I really hope I didn't, I'm pretty sure I covered all my bases. Yo, Future Alex here. I forgot to mention, always E before you Q, because you're going to deal a lot more damage and you're going to get all the buffs of Eing before you Qing. So if you didn't already know that, there you go. Forgot to put that in the video, so before you raid me in the comment sections, I remembered. But if I missed out anything, let me know down in the comments, and hopefully I can answer your questions or concerns and pin it at the top of the comment section. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my TAO guide. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure and like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.